Hey everybody, it's Sharmel. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm back with another retwisting style. I'm going to be doing these like little knotless braids, so let's get right into it.
As the sun shines in all of my glory, my flaws don't look so bad at all. What was I so afraid of?
So per usual, I'm starting off with freshly washed, hydrated, and moisturized hair. And I typically allow my locks to air dry to about 50% before I start styling. So for this style today, I'll be using this equal Cuban twist hair in the color T30. It's basically like an ombre 1B30 mix. And for my highlighted pieces in the front, I'm just going to be using pure 30. They didn't have it in the Cuban twist, so I got the Rastafari brand. But yeah, I'm going to be using 30 for my peekaboo pieces. And then to retwist, I'll be using the Jamaican Mango and Lime 5-in-1 Lockdown Gel. So I went ahead and started retwisting off camera, and for this style I'm retwisting like 2 rows at a time. And so now I'm going to use my Cuban twist hair, as you see, and it comes kind of pre-separated, but then I go ahead and separate each piece into 2 pieces just because I want these braids not to be like too thick and bulky or chunky. So now I'm taking 3 locks, and I am just going to take those 3 locks and braid them down or plait them per usual. And then once I braid like almost to the end, maybe a few inches towards the end, I'm going to start feeding in the Cuban twist hair. So I take my first piece and I feed that in, I braid down twice, and then I grab my next piece, feed that in, and I braid down twice again. And then I take my third piece and I feed that in, and then after that I pretty much braid till the end. And then once I get towards the end of my locks, I'm really taking my time to make sure I kind of tuck those in so that the braid looks seamless. And when you tuck, you basically just take the added hair and kind of wrap it around the ends of your locks. And this is just going to help hide them a little bit so they're more discreet and it looks, again, seamless from root to tip. And then once I reach past my locks, I'm just going to braid like normal. I don't recommend braiding too tight because this hair, if you braid it too tight, it can get really skinny and it's going to look like not as seamless and natural. So I braid kind of loose towards the ends, and originally I was going to feed in some curly pieces, so I left the ends loose, but eventually I did just go back and braid all the way to the end. And this is how it looked. There were a few slight imperfections with this first braid, but as I went through the process, it definitely got a lot easier. Depending on the size of your locks, you may want to add more hair. There were some locks where I probably could have added a little more of the Cuban twist to fill it out a little bit, but that is just something that you're gonna have to kind of experiment with as you go through the process. But yeah, now I'm back to retwisting. Again, I'm retwisting 2 rows at a time. If you want, you can retwist your whole head and then go back to do the braids, but I just feel like, I don't know, that would take longer or it's more work. So yeah, I like to just do 2 rows, do the braids, do my 2 rows, do the braids. But you can find whatever method works best for you. But you guys have seen me retwist my hair several times. I typically do like a combination of locksmithing and palm rolling, and that works for me. I also go ahead and map out like my baby hair and how I like my edges before I retwist, so that way I don't retwist too much hair, or yeah, I could just get how I like my hair, cleaning up the parts. You guys know the routine now. I have been retwisting my hair on camera for a few years now, but yeah, y'all, we just retwisting. And now that I have my 2 rows completed, I'm going to start sectioning off the hair for the braids. I am doing 3 locks per braids. I do recommend you doing this before you just start doing any kind of braiding, just to make sure that it is cohesive and it's balanced and, you know, all those good things. I am doing like 2 locks at the top, 1 lock at the bottom, and then I switch off and I'll do like 1 lock at the top, 2 locks at the bottom. And I feel like this just makes the style look way more balanced and cohesive compared to if you were to braid 3 locks that were like right next to each other in a row. But like I always tell y'all, my videos are just a guideline. You don't have to do it exact, and I don't recommend doing it like exactly to how I did mine, just because all locks are different. They're all unique. Again, this is just a guideline. When you actually do your own hair, you will have to make adjustments and tailor it to what fits best to your head, what looks best with your foundation, and things of that nature. But this is just kind of like the standard process of how I did this style, and it's very easy, you guys. Not hard or overly complicated at all. You can use whatever kind of braiding hair you want for this style, but I highly recommend using something textured, using some type of Marley hair opposed to like the regular Kanekalon braiding hair. I feel like it is such a game changer in braiding your locks. I've tried like knotless braids or like, you know, box braids with my locks in the past, and I use Kanekalon hair, and I never really liked how it looked. And I feel like because the texture of Kanekalon is, I wouldn't even call it silky, it's a little more blown out and on the straighter side, and 9 times out of 10 it's just not a good texture match for locks in my opinion. I feel like you have to work harder to hide the ends of your locks with Kanekalon hair, or you have to use more hair in order to hide your locks with the Kanekalon. But using the Marley hair, it just makes it again look a lot more seamless. The Marley hair is also, or I'm using Cuban twist hair today, but you know, this style of hair is also super lightweight. These braids were super light. I mean, obviously, as you'll see in the end, they were really long, so they did have some weight to them, but it wasn't like an uncomfortable weight. Overall, the hair just had a lot of body movement and was pretty light. And so yeah, I'd highly recommend using some kind of textured hair if you want to recreate like these box braid type of styles with your locks. And now we're at the top of my head, and for the top of my head I pretty much used the Rastafari in the color 30, and yeah, you really can't even tell the difference between the 2 types of hair that I use. I did notice a slight difference as I was braiding, but honestly they both work the same. I'm more just personally a fan of the Cuban twist over the Rastafari Marley hair, but get what you have, get what you can get your hands on. They all work pretty much the same. The Rastafari hair was also shorter. I think the Cuban twist was 16 inches and the Rastafari hair was 14 inches, but for the most part, they do the same. I ended up using a total of 4 packs of hair. So I had 3 packs of the Cuban twist and 1 pack of the Rastafari, and I used all the hair that I had, I believe. I may have like a little bit left over of the Rastafari, but yeah, I used about 4 packs for this style. And here is how my hair looks once all of the braids are in. Some of the braids were a little stiff in some areas, but they eventually loosened up as I kept them in. But this is how it looks initially. Now I'm just going in with my Style Factor Edge Booster, and I'm going to do my edges. Now I'm going in with some Nairobi styling foam, and I'm just going to foam everything down. This is going to just further help set the style into place. It's going to help with setting my edges as well as just any flyaways or anything like that on the braids. I'm going in next with some wrapping strips to tie everything down, and then I'm going to put on my blow drying cap, and I use the cap for about maybe 20 to 25 minutes just to set the hairstyle, dry my locks. And while I was drying, I also went ahead and dipped the ends of my braids using some boiling hot water. You guys know the routine. I basically did what you would do for box braids. This is just going to help relax that hair and kind of smooth out the ends of that hair, just like you would do again with regular box braids. And that was the hairstyle. I think the style came out super cute, a very low maintenance style. Honestly, when I went into doing this style, I was just gonna be doing like some extended plaits. I wanted some long hair, but after I did it, I'm like, wow, these really give like, you know, medium knotless braids. And yeah, I just really overall like the way that this hairstyle came out. They were super long, but again, they weren't really heavy. And yeah, I just think it turned out super cute. I did a little styling with them, half up, half down buns, you know, nothing too crazy, but that's it, y'all. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on all of my social media platforms, and I will see you beautiful people in my next video. Bye.